Tim Dillon sometimes really slays. I've been enjoying his podcast, and he had a couple tweets that were really good. These two kill. Buckle your seatbelts. Tim Dillon tweets, Trump is reportedly banning TikTok, so if you want to watch 16-year-olds dance, you're going to have to get on a plane with Bill Clinton. One more. Sitcom idea. Father's out of work at his factory job. Mom is laid off from the diner. Kid is a TikToker who supports the family. Grandma has COVID but refuses to die before she can vote for Trump again. It's called American Nightmare. Tuesdays on CBS. Pat McGann is very appreciative of the support he's getting from Sebastian Maniscalco. This from Forbes. Pat talked about his earlier days in comedy, and he said, it was invaluable to me. I feel like I went through that phase and got a ton of stage time. The only night I was off was Monday. There was a stretch where I did 9 consecutive months. So that was Tuesday through Sunday, and some weeks we're doing 14 shows. I was able to catch up to a lot of people who'd been doing it longer than me. What was interesting is that when I was doing that, they wanted me to do a lot of crowd work and welcome people, so I grew in that area. But then when I got with Sebastian, you're not going to do crowd work in front of a big act like him. I'm actually going out there and doing material. So the Sebastian school, that plus 2 years, I was really starting to grow with the material. Those 2 gigs for me really helped me to develop my complete act. It kind of gives you some different tools. The New York Times spoke with Marc Maron about Lynn Shelton, asked Marc, how did you find it working with her on Maron? Marc said, Lynn was always very disarming to me. I'm a stubborn, difficult man, and I was difficult with her too. She had a vision, and she was also stubborn, but she wasn't difficult. I would go through my own thing. I don't want to do it that way. Why can't I do it this way? It was my show, but she would eventually do it the way she wanted and convince you to do it that way too, and it was usually the right way. It's not that she was unassuming. You definitely knew she was in charge. But she embraced the collaborative process. She would watch you. She would watch what you did in a take and focus on finding the naturalism that's possible, get you away from locking into a line reading, enable you to open up your emotional space and get present what needs to be done in that scene. She just had a way of doing it that didn't feel oppressive or wasn't something I wanted to fight against. Come the third time. From Variety, Jay Pharaoh had never interacted with the police before April 26, 2020, when he heard a police officer yell for someone to get on the ground. Jay said, I've only been able to see it over the years, but to finally have that happen to me personally, I understand fully the rage of all the black people that this has happened to, that my folks that it has happened to over the years, and it keeps on going, keeps happening. Jay was exercising on the streets of LA. He was ordered to lie face down on the ground by officers searching for a suspect that matched Pharaoh's description, a black man in a gray shirt and sweatpants. Pharaoh recalls seeing an officer approaching him with his gun drawn, and then 3 more officers followed, quickly realizing they were targeting him. So he complied with the command to lie face down, and he said an officer put a knee on the back of his neck and handcuffed him. Minutes later, officers learned they detained the wrong man and they let Pharaoh go. Pharaoh said, it wasn't even supposed to be a video for the world. I just put it out there for my Instagram followers, and I was working with a couple influencers to do something cool and bring light to the situation. That video made national headlines, more than 370,000 views on Instagram, and Pharaoh admits that getting back on the ground to reenact the experience was emotional. He says, the same infuriation came up to have to go there. It's mad emotional. And I was happy to be able to show people that there is no change. Being black in America is what it is. Being black in America, it doesn't matter what show you've been on, doesn't matter where you work, nothing. Innocent black people do get profiled, and that's what needs to stop. Everybody around the world is tired of injustice. With the pandemic going on, we've had a chance to just sit and just absorb it and say to ourselves, we're tired of it. We're not going to let it happen anymore, and it needs to change. We're talking about basic human civility here. The right to walk down the street and not feel like a criminal, to be innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent, which that idea has definitely been perpetuated over so many years. Pharaoh says he plans to talk about his wrongful detainment on stage too. He said, I've prayed about this. I've sat on it. I was apprehensive at first to say anything about it just because of the severity of other situations in America where black people have lost their lives, and I didn't. I wasn't so gung-ho to put it out at first, but I said it's a message that if I can get it out to somebody, to one person, maybe I can help and give some perspective and break some barriers. It's hard to find punchlines in that pain, but I'm finding punchlines in them. Jenny Slate talked to Vulture about her choice to no longer voice Missy on Big Mouth, and she said, what I don't want to be is overly congratulated. It's okay to talk about it because I think it's a good example of some being like, I really messed up. I've learned how I've messed up, and I've only really recently understood those specifics, and it's going to take forever to divest myself of the racism that's been allowed into me because I'm a white person born into a culture of white supremacy. I think when the news went from coronavirus to George Floyd's murder, at first I was like, wait, what am I supposed to do? because the week after George Floyd was murdered, there were all these people who have a lot of followers on Instagram, like people working in Hollywood or the media or whatever, posting pictures of George Floyd or Black Lives Matter. And I was like, I'm not sure what to do because I don't want to just be doing something for the ornament of it or for the look of it. And I don't want to be like, yep, I'm a good white person. I posted on my thingy, so you can't say I'm bad. But then I also thought, well, I can't not say anything. And I thought, what is it about this silence? I don't want to be just somebody who's doing a shallow thing. So I spent that week getting in touch with a person that I know who took a course on white supremacy and asking for the course packet and buying myself some text to read what it was like. Someone told me to read this 2 years ago and I should read it. I'm going to read this, and setting up monthly donations to different organizations to help the Black community. But I was still like, I don't get it. I'm just missing something. For a while I had thought, I don't think I should play Missy. But the reasoning that seemed okay to me at the time, which I now realize was not, was that I'm one half of the character, which is basically the same thing as being colorblind. I understood that as racist reasoning, and of course a white person that thinks of themselves as progressive is going to be totally nauseated by the fact that they might have done something racist. But white people do racist things directly, even though they might have been unconscious and not on purpose. As Robin DiAngelo says, there's a difference between what you intended and what your impact was. I think the final straw for me was that one of the writers on Big Mouth posted a video about how to be an effective ally versus a good ally and asked that people make a list of what 3 things they could do. I was like, this is really clear. We're acting like a biracial actress doesn't exist. I don't know who'll take the part, but she does exist and she'll be wonderful. And it's just not my part. It's not my thing to take. You can clearly see that some people don't understand, but it doesn't matter to me. This was with the full support of everybody I work with. It's hard, obviously, to see that you've missed a lot and to see that you're part of the problem. And I still am. What was important to me was to try to word my statement in a way that was clear and not focusing on myself and focusing on the issue. And that was unemotional and not asking for anything except to be able to take a moment of accountability. That in Vulture, that is Janie Slate on not voicing Missy on Big Mouth. That's your comedy news for today. Subscribe on Apple or Google. Follow on Spotify. See you tomorrow.